I guess probably the mainstay of my collection are my four Jaguars, what I would consider to be modern but classic Jaguars, although they are aging gracefully. The first one is my 1985 Jaguar XJ6 Series 3 Sovereign, which is the oldest car that I've got of these four. I then have this 1990 XJ40 XJ6 Van Plan Majestic, the mouthful that is, and this is going to have a video made about it this year. I haven't managed to get to it yet. Didn't get driven an awful lot last year. The same 4-litre AJ6 engine that is in this is also in my 1994 XJS, which there is a video out there for. And then I've got the 2003 S-Type R, which again, I do have a video out there for. I do like these old Jags, especially. There's just something about them that's very appealing. They're a very old school look. They're a very old school style of build. And the old Connolly leather with the veneer wood in these cars, in my opinion, is just second to none. And if I had to get rid of them, I would miss them terribly. The 1985 Series 3 that I have is a German specification car. Originally, it was supplied by Jaguar Cars to an attorney who was from Pittsburgh, who worked for them in the 1980s. And he was based in Germany. And he also did some work in the UK as well. And when he retired in the late 80s, he bought the car from the company and shipped it back to the United States under the old grey market rules. And he basically spent his retirement down in Florida with it. So it does have a lot of sun damage on the paintwork, some of it which has been repainted over the years. And he did spend a lot in various repairs on it. I've also spent a lot in various repairs too, because these cars do not like sitting. It's a very old school Jaguar. You know, the engine technology in it dates back to the 1940s. And you may remember I put out a video about it when it was trailered away almost 2 years ago now, to have all this work done on it. And essentially the update is that we're now almost finished. The first thing that we had to have done to it was to cure the really erratic idling on it, which had gotten so bad that I could barely move the car under its own steam. That turned out to be a number of things, but the main part of it was the ECU that was in the car that was controlling the throttle body. Now, the ECU was replaced with one out of a North American specification car. We weren't quite sure if it would work, but it did. And so it is running beautifully now. We also had at the same time all the fuel lines cleaned as well, and the fuel problem that I had with the twin tanks at the back, with fuel being dumped out of the left-hand tank into the right. Now that's a very common problem with the old XJs, where the return valves fail and the crossover valve doesn't work properly, and it ends up, in almost all cases, dumping fuel. And even though it registers that you've got a full tank on the left-hand side, and it just dumps it into the right-hand tank. Now, this happened when I first bought the car in 2017, 100 yards down the road after I bought it. I had no idea what was going on, but I could see that there was no fuel in the tank, and so we just filled it. I got it home. It was shifting fine. Everything was great. The switch inside to switch fuel between the tanks was stuck. So I took it to a place locally that supposedly specialised in European cars. And they made a total pig's ear of it, because although they switched the new switch out, they didn't check the old fuel in the right-hand tank. So consequently what happened is, as soon as I started using that right-hand tank, it absolutely destroyed the fuel pump and the fuel lines as well. I took it somewhere else some years later, and they got all that cleaned out with a new fuel pump and some new lines. It was great, but it was still running out of fuel because of the return valve problem. So I took it to Boffos, my friends that are the Jaguar specialists, and they went over the car and found a whole hill of stuff. So it's had that work done now. The biggest problem they found were the inboard brakes at the back were bad, very bad, to the point where the car was pretty much undrivable. The problem with those inboard brakes is that everything has to come out, the suspension has to be dropped out and everything. And they did that, but the hub on the back, I guess, was seized, and it needed a new hub. So basically the entire back end is pretty much new. That's all been done, and that's what's taken the man hours. There's well over 50 man hours, about 55 man hours in this. I did say 95 in the video, part of the video you're about to see, which is wrong. It's actually 55. But it's all done. We also had to have new tyres on it because they were dry rotted. We've had new wipers on it as well. Then the Lucas headlights that I had, they are UK spec. They've been put in as well with the built-in city lights. When the car came over, it still retained 7-inch lights at the front, but it had seal beams put in, Sylvanias, and they were just useless. And I wanted the original. I wanted originals back in there. And I've had these lights for many years now, but they've now just gone in. I have retained the US side markers that it was fitted with when it was imported, because I just think that they look pretty and prettier than the standard European side repeaters that were fitted to them originally. Besides, if I remove the rear side markers, it's going to leave holes in the bodywork where that's been drilled in, and I just don't want to be bothered with that. So that is the only part of the car that now looks different to its original specification. And so that's where we're at now. Then transmission. Now, when this place that didn't check the right hand fuel tank had got their mitts on it, the one thing I noticed when it was driving home was that it was very clunky. This was before the fuel pump crapped out. When I was using the left-hand tank on it, the transmission was quite clunky, and every time when I went out in it, it was doing the same. It would just stick in first gear and then clunked into second gear. It just wasn't smooth shifting at all. And then after the fuel tank crapped out, it dumped transmission fluid through the breather valve and the torque converter out all over the floor, as they do. So it's still shifting a little erratically. So the consensus is from what I've told them and how it used to shift fine before, they believe now that they've put the wrong transmission fluid in, because it should take type F, which is the Ford transmission fluid, and they are now of the belief that it's probably had Dexcon, GM's transmission fluid in, which has far less resistance and just makes it a clunky gear shift. So that's what they're doing now, and once that's done, hopefully everything will be spot on. We will see. Anyway, what I'm going to do now, I know this has been a very long introduction, but I'm going to play you some video footage of the car and a bit more explanation as to what I've had going on with it while it was over at the shop, with all the work having been pretty much done. I'm Darren, and this is Auto Atlantica. So my XJ Sovereign is almost done, and this has had a shed load of work to it. You may remember from the last video how we had real bad idling problems with this car, and I couldn't get it to move forward very well. That turned out to be the ECU. The car has had its original European ECU replaced with a North American one, and it's working fine. The whole car is working fine. The other thing that we had done at the time as well was the crossover valves. This is now all fixed, and the the crossover and the return valves on the fuel system. This is a major problem with these cars, and it would dump fuel. You thought you were full, and it would suddenly dump fuel out of the left tank into the right one, and you'd run out of petrol. That doesn't happen very now because it's all been fixed. So, but then the other major problem that we had was the inboard brakes had seized on this car, and they are a pig to change. They're very expensive to change, and so they're good now, but not before. We had to pretty much replace the entire rear axle because the hub had also seized, and they used the highest pressure tool that they got to try and get that off, and they couldn't get it off. So that's all been replaced. So this job has been a huge job. I'm not going to tell you how much it's cost because it's just going to result in a lot of negative comments, and I'm well upside down on this car, I know that, but you know, these are not investor cars. These are collector cars that you just try and keep on the road. I mean, just look at it, it's beautiful. The other thing that I have had done as well is I had my Lucas. These are right-hand drive headlights, but these would have been original to the car. So we got rid of the American seal beams that it had when it was imported, and these are European spec Lucas headlamps. The only thing I've decided to keep on the car that is American spec, of course, are these side marker lamps. Now these front ones sit where the side repeaters used to be, so if I want to change them I can do when it was in Europe. But the rear ones, obviously they had to drill these in, and you can tell that it's an imported one because they always put them like this in line with this swage line, so it points downwards, whereas on the production US cars that didn't happen. They were sort of straight and they were not in line with that swage line. So that's how you can tell that this has been personally brought in. But other than that, the only things I've got to do, you know, we've got, you know, some real issues with the paintwork on this thing that needs to be sorted out at some point. There's a couple of rusty spots. This window's going to need to come out, but I'm going to do this myself and try and get in there so it doesn't get any worse. The car has been sitting out now for 2 years, so you know, this is getting worse as well. I need to sort that out, and I can get some rust remedy to eat that rust away. But the rest of it is looking pretty good now. I'm very pleased with it. The interior looks great. I do have a trip computer, but I can't find a wooden panel that's as in good a shape as this for it. They're all, the veneer's all split and rotten. I just can't find one that's as good as this. And this is one reason why I want to keep the car. I do have a new steering wheel for this, actually, which I may have them put on while it's down here, because this is looking a little bit manky. So, but there we are. It's brilliant, and it's brilliant to drive too. The only problem that we've got with it is, and this goes back a long time when I first got the car, it was shifting funny, and we've discovered that the place that I took it to, not only after it had been sat for a few weeks, it all came back through the breather, all the transmission fluid came back through the breather valve, through the torque converter, dumped on the floor. But we think they put General Motors ATF in it as opposed to Ford, and these should take Ford. because they have a different viscosity, they have a different friction rating as well. And so what it does, it was taking a while to get into second, and then it will jolt, and then it's fine. So anyway, we're going to have all that replaced. So we don't think there's a problem with the transmission. We just think that there is a problem with the fluid that's in it. And I'm kind of in agreement with that when I think back as to what's happened with this car. So anyway, there we go. Just another quick video with regards to what's going on with my cars. So that's it. So what I'll do when we come to pick it up, we will do a final video, part 3, as to how this Jag is actually running. But it's in good shape. I want to daily it over the summer months, really keep it nice, because these cars do not like sitting. Of all the Jags that I've got, this is very unforgiving. But as I say, I'm not going to go into the costs, because they are quite astronomical. It's like if essentially buying a new used car, but there's 100 hours of work that's gone into this. It's pretty much the biggest job I've ever had done on one of my cars. So there we are. The car is looking great. Not too worse for wear, considering it's been sat outside an awful lot. Gary Boffo, he has some Jaguar parts at home that he got from the UK when he was there, and he's got several boxes of the XJ headlight wipers for the Series 3, and he's got to dig them out, but he's going to let me have a set. So that will be the final part of Europeanizing, or getting my car back to Europeanization, because it may, I don't know if it had them originally. They were standard on the Daimlers, but they were optional on everything else. They were optional on the Sovereign, they were optional on the base car, but they were standard on the 66 from what I recall. So anyway, mine will have them on, and we're going to, that will be a project for the coming years, more than likely. So looking forward to that. Very pleased now that it's got the original Lucas lights in as well. It's looking fantastic, and I can't wait to get it back, and then we'll take it out and make a video about it. Don't be put off by the paintwork. Most of the paintwork is very flat, especially on the roof, the trunk lid and at the top of the doors, simply because of the damage it had from the sun while in Florida. But it still drives beautifully. It feels great to drive, and apart from a small patch of leather that needs to be fixed on the driver's seat, it's perfect inside as well. So that's it. Thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm Darren, and this is Auto Atlantica.